Well, let's talk about TerraCycle. This is a big deal, obviously. You're raising more capital. To me, that means things are going well. Let's talk about the business over the last year. A, what do you do? B, why is it growing so fast? Why do you need more capital? C.
Yeah, absolutely. So TerraCycle is a innovative waste management company. So we're fundamentally in the business of waste, and we have two main ways we play there, which is we collect and recycle things that you can't traditionally recycle. And then we help integrate unique waste streams from rock and roll festival waste to ocean plastic, you name it, that don't have supply chains on it back into products. Really trying to do what normal waste management companies don't do. And I'd say, the relevance is today people, especially in the past 2 years, this idea of waste is really, picked up in as a crisis for people from, straws up turtles' noses and so on. Folks want to make a difference, and recycling systems have been very challenged from a macroeconomic standpoint. So they're looking for alternatives. We are profitable and have been for a while, so we're really raising capital to accelerate growth and to take advantage of a position that we have where really no one does what we do. So we want to try to, capture as much of this unique market as we can before, others look at it.
I noticed you had a huge increase to your dividend in 2019 last year. Is that sort of strong growth and you're ready to start contributing back to your shareholders?
That's exactly right. Just to give you a sense of, the growth in our U.S. business in 2018, we did almost on the dot 20 million in revenue, and that went up organically to 27 million. But our EBITDA went from 1.8 million positive to 4.6. So we've, been feeling great on organic growth and maintaining a strong profit margin, and that's directly reflected in a dividend increase that we hope to do again as well.
Do you think that growth is sustainable? Because that's absolutely phenomenal in the waste management business. You're either creating a new market or you're stealing share or both. How are you doing this?
Well, I'd say it's entirely around creating new markets. We are not in any way, touching anyone's toes. In fact, we have strategic investors who are large waste management companies because they look to learn from us and use our services to differentiate their more traditional offerings, whether it's, Waste Connections in Canada or Suez in Europe, but where it's all entirely new. So I'll give you a, concrete example. If you wanted to recycle dirty diapers, there's no other company in the world than us. If you want to recycle cigarette butts, there's no one in the world than us. And those topics, along with hundreds of other waste streams, are gaining increased momentum and something consumers keep caring about. In school, the first sustainability lesson we learn is reduce, reuse, recycle. And that's not a global warming lesson or climate change lesson. It's not a deforestation lesson. It's fundamentally a waste lesson. And so it's easy for people to understand. And frankly, one of the things I love about waste, which is so interesting to why you can innovate in it so much, is that everything in the world we own will one day be property of a garbage company, with not a single exception. And for how gigantic that concept is, the solutions are pretty uninspired. It's usually put in a pile or burn it. And I have a feeling that has to do with the fact that it's not just, it's not a sexy industry, doesn't attract a lot of innovation. And to me, that is a perfect place to play in a highly innovative approach.
I'm going to make the assumption that if you're able to recycle these complex components as you're talking about, you must have some proprietary technology. Otherwise, other waste management companies would have taken this over a long time ago.
Well, that is absolutely the case. Where I'm sitting now in Trenton, New Jersey, above me is a whole floor of science and R&D facilities, laboratories, polymer scientists coming up with these really unique solutions. But one of the other pieces to note is what makes something municipally recyclable. You can put it in your blue bin and it will be recycled, as if a garbage company can make money. Because recycling is not about doing the right thing. It's really urban mining for profit. And everything else, which you can't on its own make money at or profit at, ends up being disposed as cheap as the laws of the land allow. So in the Americas, that would be landfilling. And so a big part of this too is just no one is looking at these because all these waste streams on its own don't make economic sense. So we have to get funding from, say, consumer product companies who may have made the product, retailers who may have sold them, municipalities who take part in it. And it's both the science and the unique business model that I think create fundamental protection for us, which is why we still don't have any direct competition.
Okay, so you're raising capital now. Let's talk about the optionality you had and why you chose crowdfunding and why you chose specifically StartEngine. Let's start there. A, why the raise now? And B, why StartEngine?
Well, so on the first question, why now? We're in a really healthy position where I think we've moved away from a startup, that's losing money and trying to, get its foundation to really a growth company. Like I said, we've been profitable for a number of years and enjoying, pretty good ratios between profit and revenue. And we can only grow so much with our own resource, reinvesting our profits into growth. And we felt like now is a great time to try to accelerate the growth, get more salespeople on the ground, look at more innovative business units to get more revenue from our existing clients, and to do that with an infusion of capital. On top of that, we acquired a company last year that we did quite well with, and we are looking forward to making more modest size acquisitions. Revenue between, or companies that we're looking at, are between 5 and 25 million in revenue. So not massive companies, but we think we can also be really good for acquisitions where they may not be thinking about the waste world the way we are, but we can take their existing revenue base and grow it and also maximize some of the profits. Now, why crowdfunding is, in the US, 75% of American schools run our programs. We have, just in the United States, over 80 million people who somehow interact with the TerraCycle service. And they email us all the time on, when are you public? When can we invest a little bit of money? And typically in traditional funding, you have to be an accredited investor, which, it simply means, sort of rich person, and you're going to have to do bigger check sizes. And not a lot of our day-to-day participants fit the bill. And yet they want to be equity owners, and they want to really help, not just be a participant, but be a part owner and help the company grow. And so we wanted to make available the idea of equity prior to looking at an IPO to your average investor out there who may care about our mission, but may only have $1,000 they want to deploy and may not be accredited. And so we feel like crowdfunding is a wonderful idea for that. So for me, it's not just for a brand new idea that you put on Kickstarter, but can also be for a growth business. And why?
So you're trying to tap your community, the people that already know your product and service, like what you're doing. You obviously, for many of them, they believe you have a social mission at hand here, but you're profitable. That's amazing. The fact that you're profitable and you pay dividends means you could have gone anywhere. But what I'm hearing from you is you like the fact that your own community can become your shareholder. They probably don't have a time agenda. They want to be part of the story as you grow, so you're not under pressure, which is kind of unique if you think about it. If you're a traditional venture capital company, you may have to get liquid within 5 to 7 years. Private equity, same thing. Hedge funds, even sooner. So you're sort of living proof that crowdfunding is emerging as a way to marry two agendas that are in sync with each other. You acquire capital, and your base, your customers, want to invest in you. Is that really what's going on here?
Absolutely. And just spot on. And to add to that, what's also neat for me is, I've never managed a public company, but this allows, because we have to file with the SEC and go through proper reporting and so on. This is sort of taking my compliance team, finance, legal, and the other folks who have to manage that for a test drive on what is it like to comply with that type of regulation, which means if one day we choose to look at a proper public offering, we're already halfway there on the, on crossing the T's and dotting our I's. And we know what it's like, from a reporting. We just moved from reporting every 6 months to reporting, every quarter. So for me, these are all really wonderful things, and especially to what you said, to tap into a consumer base that is looking to be patient, wants to be a part of it, and be along for a long ride, not just for a quick in and out.
Tell me about the raise. How much are you trying to raise? What are your hopes for this? What's the game plan for the next year?
Absolutely. So we're looking to raise a maximum of 25 million. We've already done more than half of that. I think around 15 million has come in, give or take, and more comes in, every day. So it continues to do quite well. Again, as mentioned, we are profitable. So the deployment of the capital is really to accelerate our current business units. Simply speaking, get more salespeople on the ground, because we do have long cycle sales. So we have to deploy salespeople, and typically it's 6 to 12 months before they become robustly profitable for us. Then to really think about how can we strengthen our relationships. TerraCycle works with just about every major brand in the world, from making Gillette razor blades recyclable to Colgate toothpaste tubes and every major marquee brand you can think about. But I believe we can go much deeper with these relationships than where we are today. And for that, we have to innovate around our services and strengthen our offering and build up an ecosystem of offerings around it. And that's an area where we want to take some risk, see where we go. And then finally, look at some very strategic M&A that can help bring in some immediate increase of revenue, but also new capabilities.
Now, StartEngine is not the only equity crowdfunding platform out there. Why did you choose StartEngine?
We really believe in, well, first, the people who are behind StartEngine. This is a wild west, the idea of crowdfunding. And I'm sure, as you know, in these sort of, new financial instruments that are out there, you get a whole array of different personalities, that may be behind them. And for us, we are a mission-driven business. Our brand is everything. And the credibility and honesty of our brand makes us what we are. And so we wanted to make sure we align with a brand in this space that we really believe in, the people behind the what StartEngine is about, and also how StartEngine has really authentically, in our eyes, brought ideas, looks at credible deals, especially when we've looked at other similar players. We haven't felt that same level of credibility in all the other crowdfunding platforms that are out there, and StartEngine just really stood up and be above and beyond the rest in our eyes.
And so far, it sounds like so good. If you're 50% away to the way there on a $25 million raise, I would say you're on your way to a good deal.
Yeah, I think it's been a wonderful relationship. And, the biggest testament for me is I'm incredibly happy where we are, really pleased with the investor community that StartEngine has been able to build for us. They're wonderful people who are now not just equity owners, but frankly also helping be customers and driving the business, not just by buying shares, but buying services and supporting us. And we look forward to doing another raise at the right time with them, so I'd love to do this again. And man, compared to what you said earlier on other ways to raise capital, whether it's venture or private equity, I really believe, have been loving so far what crowdfunding is all about. And even with the added compliance, I think it's absolutely worth it.
Well, Tom, that's music to my ears because I'm an investor in StartEngine. I'm a huge believer in the whole strategy. And I love the fact that it's giving a good competitive run to the traditional VCs and private equity guys that I grew up with. This is way better in so many different ways. And I'm a believer like you are. I think this is going to be a massive, massive platform as time passes because it delivers on its promise. But look, for your company, I'm proud we're able to attract you because you're exactly the kind of company we want here. And I love your social mission, but I love the best, the most profitable with a dividend. Everybody knows that's what I'm all about. It's a great story. I wish you the best of luck and keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to chat with you today.
Take care, Tom. Bye-bye.